Hello, science curious folks, and welcome back to episode 199 of Fun Fossil Finds with Friends, where we talk about interesting and significant fossil finds and make paleontology accessible to the non-paleontological public. I'm Tanisha Ross Samuilo.
And I'm Melissa Christensen.
And today we'll be giving you the lowdown on Domomeron romeri, a lagerpetid who, until extremely recently, was thought to be part of Dinosauromorpha. So let's start with a brief description of Domomeron romeri. This little guy was first described in 2007 by Hermes et al. And was named after the Greek word for running, or dromis, combined with the Greek word for femur, or meros. The romeri part of his name was named after the influential paleontologist Alfred Sherwood Romer, who has previously contributed to lagerpetidae research and phylogeny. So here's a couple different artist depictions of what this little guy might have looked like. You can see that he could either be feathered or featherless, and we don't know because those are soft fossils.
Wow, that's sure a cute little guy, John. Before a 2007 Science article was released, the fossil evidence of dinosaur precursors, which until recently included Domomeron romeri, placed the beginning of their existence in the Middle Triassic. The fossil record suggests that dinosaur precursors in the Middle Triassic very, very quickly gave rise to Dinosauria in the later Triassic. However, in the 2007 Science article, Hermes et al. Described some late Triassic fossil evidence, and it suggested that the transition period was much longer than previously thought. They found these fossils in Hayden Quarry in New Mexico, and this is where they actually found Domomeron romeri for the first time. And they classified it as a dinosauromorph, which is right here. So we can see the split Dinosauromorpha here, and here's Domomeron right there. So this discovery and his classification, it changed the transition period from the dinosaur precursors to dinosaurs, actually stretching it from 15 to 20 million years long, where the precursors and dinosaurs coexisted. What a long time to live with someone who's evolutionarily better than you.
Yeah, for sure, John.
So this is a phylogenetic tree from that article, and it shows Domomeron here and Dinosauria, this entire clade here, coexisting much into the late Triassic period. So Domomeron romeri differs from other dinosauromorphs except for Lagerpetin chanarensis. They both share a distinct hook-shaped femoral head. We can see Domomeron romeri's femur here, and beside it, his tibia. And Domomeron romeri and Lagerpetin share a lot of small, detailed characteristics in the femur and tibia. However, Domomeron romeri differs from Lagerpetin because it possesses a larger CT region of the femur down here, and Domomeron romeri differs from other dinosauromorphs in the AMR region by having a sharp, distinct ridge at the bottom of the femur. So, in this paper, Hermes et al. Placed Domomeron as the sister taxon to Lagerpetin because of their similarities. And then they further classified that group, Domomeron and Lagerpetin, as a sister clade to all other dinosauromorphs. However, in 2009, 3 of the same authors from that Science article published another article in Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology, where they officially classified the Domomeron and Lagerpetin clade as a clade called Lagerpetidae. So Lagerpetidae is primarily classified as having a hook-shaped femoral head like we saw on the previous slide, and other very specialized femur characteristics. And we can see Lagerpetidae right here in this green-shaped box, green-colored box, and then as well right here, it just specifies a couple different species of Domomeron, and romeri is right in the middle between these other 2 species.
Right, and so these are just 2 different, they're a little bit unsure of how the trees are within these green parts, it looks like.
Yeah, so this phylogenetic tree actually came a bit later from an article in 2016 from Martinez et al., and it classifies, like I said, other species of Domomeron that were found later and classifies them within the Lagerpetidae family.
So we know for sure that D. romeri belongs to the Lagerpetids, but we've hinted at the fact that we don't know for certain that the Lagerpetids belong to Dinosauromorpha. Let's talk a bit about that now.
That's correct, John. So if you've been following along at home, you would probably say that Domomeron romeri belongs to Dinosauromorpha, as we've already said. But then you'd be wrong.
So we found a hot off-the-press article by Ezkura et al., published in Nature just yesterday, December 9th, 2020, which indicates that D. romeri, alongside the other Lagerpetids, might in fact be in Pterosauromorpha. That's right, Pterosauromorpha, not Dinosauromorpha. Ornithoda, you can see, is the group that contains Dinosauromorpha and Pterosauromorpha. And Pterosauromorpha then splits into Pterosauria and Lagerpetidae, according to Ezkura et al. And that is where, so Lagerpetidae is where Domomeron romeri and the other Domomerons, as well as the other Lagerpetidae, belong. So this is just a phylogenetic tree in their article that describes that. And you might be wondering, how did those researchers come to this conclusion? Well, what really changed how they thought about Lagerpetid classification was some recently collected forelimb and skull fossils, which actually seem to be more pterosaur-like than dinosaur-like. So Ezkura et al. Also did CT scanning, which let researchers reconstruct their brains, their inner ears, and their sensory systems of these new skull fossils. And that led them to determine that these parts of Lagerpetids were actually quite similar to pterosaurs.
Wow. So I guess, Gail, our listeners are wondering, why should they care? And why is this significant? So the answer is that a new classification of pterosaurs as the sister taxa to Lagerpetidae, as seen here, this gives us a new framework to study the origin of Pterosauria and how pterosaurs became able to fly. So we know that pterosaurs are the earliest reptiles that evolved powered flight, but it's pretty mysterious to us still how flight actually evolved. This new discovery of Lagerpetidae as pterosaurs' closest relative will fill in some key evolutionary gaps, which could help us figure out who or where flight originated from.
Okay, John, so it seems to me like what you're saying is that these Lagerpetids, like D. romeri, being the precursors of pterosaurs, are sort of like the middleman between pterosaurs and Pterosauromorpha, which can help tell us where pterosaurs may have come from. So Ezkura et al. Found that Lagerpetids and pterosaurs have large semicircular canals, right? So in our middle ears, and that's often associated with increased sense of equilibrium because they can better sense their angular acceleration, right? And we see that often in birds and primates. So that increase in balance and head movement detection is often seen in animals that exhibit arboreal, aerial, or otherwise agile terrestrial locomotion. So these changes in the inner ear and the neuroanatomy, seen in both the Lagerpetids and in the pterosaurs, may have given them the very beginnings of the ability to evolve active flight. So it is worth noting, though, that as you saw in the Domomeron's artist rendition, he doesn't actually have wings. So there's still work to be done to find the earliest pterosaurs, and that could give us information as to how the pterosaurs actually evolved the ability that led them to be able to fly.
Wow, what a fun fossil find! Thanks for tuning in this week with Ellen and I to discuss Domomeron romeri. We hope that we can see you next week, where we'll talk about some pretty cool cyanodonts. Finally, get ready for our joke of the week, which is appropriately holiday themed.
Okay, so who is the dinosaur's least favorite reindeer?
I don't know. Who is a dinosaur's least favorite reindeer?
Comment!
Wow, what a good joke. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Tanisha.
We'll catch you next week on
Fun Fossil Finds with Friends!